So today we have with us one of our partners, Mr. Akinlabi, and he's been a business coach for over 20 years. And he's a feminist. He's a self-described feminist. And he has volunteered to do this with us today. So, Mr. Akin, you have the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And depending on the part of the world that you are from, good morning, good afternoon, and if it applies, good evening. My name is Akinlabi Alabi. I sort of joined all my names together to form Akinlabi, and that's where you have Akinlabi Incorporated from. So thank you for this opportunity. The convener of SASIE, Dr. Daniel. And to everyone who is on the call and who is in this program, thank you for taking the time. Interestingly, when we talk about a meeting like this with a coach, with a motivator, with a mentor, the whole idea is that there's someone there that's ready to do your work for you. And that's one of the things that we'll try to address today. Here, it's more like a mechanics workshop or apprenticeship, mechanical apprenticeship rather. I think that fits it best, where we tell you the tools, and then when anything goes wrong with your vehicle, you would be able to do your diagnosis and hopefully be able to fix it. It's also okay if you don't have all the tools or you've not developed the capacity to do the fixing yourself. You can reach out to people. So this is not about giving you a solution. This is about letting you know how things happen. And most of us, we grew up in this setting where we believe that things are usually outside of our control. There's something they call the unfinished law. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. Incidentally, and maybe to also point out the hypocrisy of it, I'm sure that many of us, we have boarded vehicles before. When you board a vehicle, you do not expect that any inconsistency happen to the engine. You don't even think about it because your life is at stake. When you board an airplane, you don't want to, you said that, oh, everybody is fallible, everybody can make a mistake. You don't even want to think about the pilot making a mistake. You don't want the engine to make a mistake. So is it not curious that you accept that there are ways that things can be done in certain areas of life when your life depends on it? But when you think that, okay, you can cut yourself some slacks, and suddenly, you know, we can be uncertain. We can be, it can be however it is. So this is my proposition to you. What if you take entrepreneurship and leadership? What if you take your person, yourself, as an aeroplane that can now afford to malfunction? What if you take your business and yourself as a vehicle going at a very high speed that you must have checked everything about it before you set out? And that's basically what it's all about, to keep up having that conversation that challenges us from where we used to be. Let us know what can be, and then have a conversation on how we can get to what and where we can be. So basically, the convener of this program, she's been gracious enough to give me the type of people that we'll be having the conversation with today. It's more like, if I want to have a conversation with you, if I want to start a relationship with you, the first thing that I normally will ask for is, what is your name? So this is a place where we say, what is your name? Because inherent in my knowing your name is the assumption of a level of familiarity. I just believe that I know you. And so that's why we have on the screen right now the kind of person that we think you are. And we're saying that that kind of a person is someone who, you know, have it says motivated African women with promising technology-based or technology-enabled business practices. So that is the kind of businesses that we think you're wrong. That's the kind of person that we think you are. You're just this motivated person, somebody who is ready to go, who is roaring to go. So the first step is this, and it's also a question and answer time at some point where you can put down your responses, and then during our break, I'll go over the responses, and then I'll use it to also kickstart the second session that we'll be having. So the thing is this, as you look at yourself right now, do you truly believe that you are this person that has been painted on this slide? You think you're motivated? What does motivation mean? Okay, what is the whole idea of an African woman? Because when you say an African woman, it means that it's not an European woman. And there is a consequence to that assumption. It means that there is a set of challenges that an African woman will face, that there is a context, there's an environment an African woman who wants to do business would have to engage in that might not be the same thing for a woman who is in Europe, for example, who is in America, who is in China. So we need to have an understanding of these basic qualifications. This is an African woman. What are the things that are particular to African women? Okay, so you live in a society where most often than not, you're not expected to have your own way. You're not expected to have your own mind. Whichever way, some of the things in your environment have seeped into you. They made you to become who you are. And so when you want to do business with someone who grew up in Europe, for example, with all its enabling characteristics, you are already at a disadvantage. If you want to do a global business, you want to do global practices. So that is why it's very important for you to understand, to think about what does it mean to be an African woman who is doing business in the African setup. Okay, before we started, I had to ask my colleague to go through the process of providing or turning on the alternative power supply, just to have this conversation with you, because there might be power interruption. What does it mean for me in terms of business continuity and contingencies? We need to know, because an unexamined life is actually not worth living. So that is the first place that we're starting from. We say you're motivated. So as you look at yourself, I'm motivated. If I'm not motivated, if this is not me, how can I become this? Those are the kind of conversations that we want to have here today. And then, of course, the next thing is we're looking at, okay, what do we want to go away with from here? What are the things that we will say we've enabled ourselves to be able to do? The first one is that we want to see if we can understand the nature of entrepreneurship itself. We want to understand what is it. It's just like in project management, there is a project itself, and then there is a business as usual. We want to be able to do those differentiation and to understand the characterization of all of these things. And of course, after we've known what it means to be an entrepreneur or what entrepreneurship itself is, we want to ask ourselves, am I configured? It might be a conversation you not had with yourself before. Am I configured to be that kind of person that would like, or they can go into what it means to be an entrepreneur? When they read out the statistics to you that maybe 75% of any business that starts at a particular time would go down in a sane environment. Now, when you talk about a challenging context, then you now need to ask yourself, what is the percentage of businesses that will go down? So in that context, do I need to know myself? If I know myself and I know what are my threats, what are my risks, what are my weaknesses, then I'll also start asking myself, where can I get strength? Or what are the strengths I can use to mitigate this? Not having this kind of conversation, either with ourselves or with people around us, can be very detrimental to our business prosperity. Because in SASIE, and from my conversations with them, they just don't want people who would do businesses that would put food on the table. They want to do businesses with people and to reach people who will be able to be leaders of the industries of the sphere of businesses that they are. And that really matters a lot. And of course, the last thing is you need to be able to understand the connection that the problem that you have, why did I have this problem? And then if I have this problem, how can I prevent this problem from happening? It's usually the norm in Western countries that if my child got hit by a car and he dies, I'm going to be focused after burying the child. I'm going to be focused on why did that happen? How can I prevent it from happening? And that is the reason why you find a situation where people have laws, bills, regulation named after them, because somebody who experienced the problem sought to understand why did it affect me? And then how did it affect me? And what would be the ideal situation for it not to affect me? Until we start thinking like this, until we take these three things into consideration, it's going to be very difficult for us to really succeed as entrepreneurs. And again, I say that it might be that my assumption is right, that the context that we grow up in is one that does not really examine what the issues are. And this conditioning might have come from my background, religious, it might be parental, it might be social, however it is, it might be cultural. Okay, so for a business person, you need to really, really be able to do this analysis. And so at the end of the day, when we've achieved the aims that we talk about, that is when you become a mechanic. You know, that's what we say. And I don't expect that we'll be able to run through everything that it takes to be the best person on earth today. And that's why working with SASIE, I've said, this is my introduction to anybody and everybody who is on this journey with you, that you can always stay within our circle, take up our coaching opportunities, take our interaction opportunities. They will share the link with you after this event. This is just the beginning of the conversation. What we want to make you, what I want to encourage you to become is to become a mechanic that is not afraid when the car knocks, is so eager to bring out his tools to look at them. And so that is why we can have this outcome where you can sit down and then look at yourself and say, who am I? What am I? Why am I in this position? What am I? What can I be? Who can I be? What is the best way to go about whatever it is that I want to go about? Listen, I believe that until we're able to have this conversation, to go through this process, to be skilled, like someone who can break down the equipment, who can unscrew the boxes, who can tear down the car and put it apart, we might not be in a position to really, really do global business. And that's just my assumption. You can prove me wrong, okay? And it's also from the basis of the kind of relationship that I'm hoping to grow with us. I'm sure that many of us will watch movies. And so this guy here, his name is Harrison Ford. He's done many movies. He's won some awards too. Okay, can I just get a confirmation, please?
We can
Precious.
see the screen.
Oh, you can't see the screen.
Yes, please.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let me see how I can help with that. Okay, like I said, I'm really, I'm not surprised about the connection truncation. So if you can just give me a few minutes, let me see how I can connect back to it, and then we can go on. Okay, just a few minutes. Thank you.
Okay, there are a few people just joining. You're very much welcome. We're trying to share the screen so that everybody would. Yes, we can see your screen now, Mr. Akin.
Hey, hello, everybody.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, you can see my screen now. Thank you.
Yep.
Just before we had the conversation that the screen was not coming on, I just talked about the fact that when they say you're an African woman who is doing business, I said you must understand that there are peculiarities with doing business on the continent. I just said that. And now, shortly after that, I don't know if you heard that, shortly after that, you had a situation where the internet connection went down, and there I was going on and on, not knowing that I've been disconnected. So what kind of emotional capacity do I need to have? How creative do I need to be? How resilient, how innovative do I need to be above the water? Because in saner climes, in Europe, in America, in other parts of the world, in some other part of the world, that's not different from Africa. Because if there's a problem in a country in Africa, it's very easy to know that the problem exists all over Africa. Now, this internet connection that we have to address right now is taking like 2-3 minutes of our time. And so those are the issues. When you say you're an African woman, what does it mean to be motivated when you not compare yourself to somebody who is not from Africa? How do you need to have a response system? About to coach someone on how to turn on the generator should the light go. What are the contingencies? And what kind of a person do you need to be so that this does not overwhelm you over a period of time? Because in terms of competitive advantage, the person in Europe, the person not living in Africa, is not dealing with this. So their prices, their system, what they bring out to be different. So you need to be able to understand this so that you not get into the water, or you not be in water and then start saying, shivering that you are cold. You're already in the water. So you should have something that wouldn't make you to be cold. So that's why we have those aims and objectives there. You need to know what entrepreneurship is, especially in the continent, on the continent that you are. You need to understand who you are, what you are, and then you need to be able to link the issues that are problematic to you, and then see that other people might also be experiencing that, and find out how you can join to find a solution. And that might be the opportunity that we are describing. And I said that the aim, the outcome is to make you a mechanic. We want you to be the person that when your boss breaks down, you're not panicked. You know the tools to be able to use. So that brings us to where we were before the connection went off. And this is Harrison Ford here. And he said to me, success is choice and opportunity. And it's interesting that almost all of us went to schools where they taught us that 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. But when it comes to certain areas like I did earlier on, when it comes to some areas that we don't want to take responsibility, or we're not being configured to know that we're the ones responsible, then it becomes God will help us. So 1 + 1 is 2, wherever it is. 2 + 2 is 4. So if I want to be successful, can I tap into a principle? Are there equations? Are there calculations that are time-tested, that are proven that I can use? So this guy suggested something that on the face value of it is very simple until we embrace it. To me, success is choice and opportunity. So if I have the ability to make a choice, if my decision-making process is superlative, and for my decision-making process to be superlative, my information, the information that goes into how I make decisions, they have to be top notch. So there's already a problem that I'm seeing there right now. If your value system when it comes to entrepreneurship and leadership is warped, if it is not up to in terms of quality, if your network where you get information from, if the system around you is not conducive of the highest quality, then it means that the information you have to make the decision you are making would be poor. And then you would now end up making poor choices. You end up making poor choices. And those are the issues that we need to be able to identify and deal with and understand. Basically, this is just about understanding. Don't deal with anything. Just understand it. That's what this session is for. Just understand what the issues are. And of course, opportunity. Many of us, we grow up with this idea of opportunity once lost can never be gained again. An entrepreneur does not think like that. And this is not to encourage you to miss opportunity. Any opportunities that you have. You see, opportunity is something that is beyond you. You don't control it. And because you don't control it, it's always presenting itself. Over time, it presents itself. You must have a readiness to be able to lap onto it. Of course, when you are not at the optimal level, when the circumstances around you are not at the optimal level as they were when the opportunity first presented itself, it might not be difficult than normal to harness the opportunity. But I want to introduce you to this idea that you can always look for opportunities, because that's actually the root of innovation. Okay, I didn't get it like this. Can I do it like this? So that you don't knock and lock yourself out. So this is going to be our focus in this interaction. We need to understand what choices are. We need to understand how we make our choices. Then we need to understand what opportunities are. And then we need to understand how opportunities come, how they present themselves. Because this guy says that if I can choose and then I can recognize opportunities, then I can be successful. He says it's a principle that is being tested. And so, interestingly, in our case study, we have someone who really has been able to do that. But before we go into the aspect where we talk using a concept that we have, I can say that we're having the practical understanding of the issues I mentioned when I said when they qualify you as an African business, then it means something interesting. It means that there are a set of challenges that you grapple that other people might not need to bother their heads with. And so eventually also it means that you might have actually grown up with a set of values that have not primed you very well. So before we go on break, I just want to close this part of the interaction by introducing you to this concept. It's a concept that explains scarcity. Okay, and I'm going to operationalize it for our meeting this way. So as an entrepreneur, what makes you to sell is the fact that the value you are putting out there is rare. Okay, it's rare, it's not common, or if it's common, many people would want it. So demand is always more than supply. That is the optimum level for you to operate in. And that is good for business. However, as an entrepreneur and as a leader, it is different for you. You cannot afford scarcity at all. So if you cannot afford scarcity, how can you work around it as a mentality? So that's why we brought this up. So scarcity means abundance. You need to know that everything you need, the network, the money, the expertise, the opportunities, everything that you need to be the richest person, to be the most successful person, to be the greatest at everything and anything that you're doing is available. And that is abundance. It is available. Scarcity only happens One, when you do not have trust with people. Secondly, when you have not built your expertise such that the environment that needs the value you want can trust you. So you need to look at this again. Number one, you need to deal with scarcity. That is the reason why you actually have a business. And as a mentality, I said it's different from how it operates as a business. As a business, scarcity means that if you have a value that is scarce, you can supply it at a premium, or you can supply it to so many people and then they can buy it because it's scarce. And that is good. That's why you become rich. However, as a human being, and then as an entrepreneur, it works differently for you. You need to know how to stay away from the scarcity mindset. And how can you stay away from scarcity when you don't know how it happens? So that's why we just brought up this concept and try to operationalize it. So scarcity means abundance. When there's abundance, you need to know the worker you need, the land you need, the legislation you need, the money you need, everything you need is in abundance. When abundance is without trust, you result in scarcity. But when abundance is plus trust, you result in prosperity. So in this case right now, what are the things that I need to know that can make the people I'm dealing with to trust me? What expertise? Is it emotional intelligence? Is it academic excellence? Is it, what is it that can make the people to trust me? So abundance plus trust will equal prosperity. On the other hand, myself, how can I grow in trusting providence, trusting life, trusting people, trusting that everything I need is available? How can I grow that mentality such that I can connect to the abundance that's around me and address scarcity? So anybody who is able to get this equation and is able to internalize it and work with it, that person is primed to be the kind of entrepreneur and leader that can set the pace in the world. And so that is the operationalization of this concept that we have here. So what I want us to do right now is to take a break, like I told the convener. We would go into small groups and then we'll discuss with the information, the background of the information we just supplied. Start trying to understand the case study that we sent to you. Let's go over it, let's have conversations over it. And then when we come back, we will now be able to analyze the case study with the diagram that helps us to understand it's something you can take away, like your mechanics to work. You need to become a mechanic. If there's anything that you're going away with today, is the idea that I need to become a mechanic. I need to become an entrepreneur mechanic, a leadership mechanic, a lifestyle mechanic. I need to know how the engine works. And that's what we're going to do when we come back in the next session. Thank you for the time so far. Coordinator, I yield the floor.
Okay.
From those who are back, who would like to volunteer some of the things that happened in your room? What's, again, the background of what we heard before we went on break, and then the material in your hand. Is there anyone who would like to volunteer and share? Anybody?
Tonye's hand is up.
Okay, yeah. You please moderate and let in anyone who wants to. Yeah, thank you.
Tonye, please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And thank you so far for your teaching. I have a comment and a question. So the first is, I don't know if it was just me, but I didn't really get the concept of the scarcity equals abundance minus trust. I got it up until the point where you said, as a marketer, you want to make your product scarce, like there's so much demand, but I didn't get it in the terms of entrepreneurship that you were trying to have us. But then back to my comment on the case study. When I read it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand that success, there's opportunities, and then you have to make the right choices. But there was a side of my brain that was just wondering, so now we celebrate Elon Musk because he supposedly made those choices. Were there like 9 other entrepreneurs who also made those same choices but are not here today? So is there still some kind of background traits or other factors that would have made it successful? Because I mean, it's possible that someone else did those same things, took those same opportunities and made those same decisions, but clearly they didn't get there because we don't know about them. So those are some of the thoughts that are coming to my mind as well. If you can speak to that.
Thank you. Those are actually great observations. You know, like I said, this is not a one-stop thing. The basis of this is an introduction. And then when you look at the challenges, when you look at the opportunities, and say, okay, let's do this for 1 year together. Let's do this for 5 years together. That's why SASIE has been able to get out of us a situation where those who are on this journey can sign up and then as mentees, so that we can, over time, walk through this together. So let me quickly address the first one that you said. The basis of business is that the society needs something. Someone hasn't produced this, or the person is not producing it as much as the society needs it, or as well as the society needs it. So as well as the society needs it is where you talk about innovation. As much is where you talk about scarcity. And the reason why I can go into it and the person went into it in the first instance is the fact that people want it. And it is not everywhere. If it was everywhere, they would just go and pick it. Okay, but people want it. It's not everywhere. So I've packaged it and I'm offering it. And to the level that it is scarce, or to the amounts that people need it, to that I can charge and then make money. Okay, do you understand up to that point?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so that is the one for business. And honestly, as an entrepreneur, that is what you're looking for. Whether it is people need it, and the way I package it is so sophisticated that they will pay a very high amount on it. So the fact that not everybody can make it as sophisticated is the whole idea why it is scarce to that taste and quality. And to the number of people who need it, if it is mass, is why it is scarce. Because yes, many people need it and then it's widely available, but it's not enough for the people. That is the only reason why you are able to charge and make money. And to that extent, scarcity is okay. Scarcity is the life wire of your entrepreneurship and even your leadership. The reason why you want to vote in someone that's against another person is that there's a quality you want in someone that the other person doesn't have. So you can see that scarcity is a great, great, great concept that the society needs. And it is good only to that extent. As an individual, leader, and entrepreneur, you cannot afford scarcity. Mentally, psychologically, around you. And in any case, to break the yoke of scarcity is why you want to become a business person and be rich for yourself. So when you are not dealing with yourself, you don't want to have scarcity. How can I escape from something I don't even know its nature or how to escape it? And so that is why I said we're not here to tell you, oh, you be abundant and everything. We want to give you the tools that show you why this thing exists. If you can tweak the reason why it exists, it will cease to exist. If you can tweak the reason why it exists and you want it to exist more, you can optimize it. So that's why I gave that concept and operationalize that scarcity mentally, psychologically, as a person, your consciousness comes from the fact that abundance is always there. It's a lie that we have grown up with through the society we've grown up with, the background we come from, our environment, our culture, or our religion. It might have introduced the idea that there's no abundance. But I'm telling you, abundance is everywhere. Opportunities are everywhere. So this idea, for example, that we grew up with, opportunity once lost can never. Opportunity will always come. Its form might vary. And so that is the first thing you need to deal with, that is abundance. There is a staff that you need, that staff exists somewhere. The money you need for your business exists somewhere. Everything exists somewhere. There's abundance. You need to accept that mentally. However, scarcity of it happens when that abundance is minus trust. I, who owns the resources, if I don't trust your skill, your expertise, or your person, I won't give it to you. What will result from me not giving it to you, even though I have it? Because of certain qualities. It might be technical, it might be quality, it might be education, it might be emotion, it might be disposition. If there's that thing that doesn't make me trust you, I won't give it to you. In that area, you would experience scarcity. Do you get it up to that point?
So good. I get it now. Yeah.
Okay. Now, personally also, the reason why you're not able to tap abundance, for example, if you want to be a bricklayer, for goodness sake, you can go on YouTube, you can Google how to be a bricklayer, first level. There are so many people around you that, uncle, let me join you now. And then through your play, your friendship or thereabout, you stay with them 1-2 weeks, you will learn how to be a bricklayer. Now, if there's something about you that wouldn't make good use of these opportunities, it means that one day somebody will want to build a house, and then we'll turn to you and say, Tony, can you think about a design for this? And because you are not skilled in that area, not that the opportunity doesn't exist, but at that particular point, for that particular purpose, for that particular situation, you're not skilled. So the person cannot trust that you would. But it also comes from you not believing that this thing exists. So it also goes into relationship. Oh, those people, I cannot. That is where you have the word can't. You don't trust your ability. You don't trust the day that God has given you as a religious person. You don't trust that your network will yield for you. When you do not trust, you are not able to tap into the abundance, and then you would experience scarcity in that regard. When all the facilities are available on YouTube, but you don't have a motivation to go and get it because you don't trust YouTube, you don't trust TikTok, you don't trust that person, you don't trust that church, you don't trust that business, it means that you cannot harness its potential. So you cannot afford that. Because you want to be in abundance, abundance must be plus trust, either the skill you need or the temperament you need, and a mindset of your own that says that this thing exists somewhere. I need to just address the issue of trust.
Yeah.
However it is, maybe through improving my skills or finding someone who can front for me and say, I trust this person. That is where guarantors come in. You can't access some loans if you don't have a guarantor. That is, they don't trust you alone. They want you to heighten their trust, so they will not give you that loan. You need to be able to understand why poverty exists. You need to be able to understand why you are limited. You need to be able to make the tools yourself. That is very important. And when you are able to do that, you are able to profile solution, because that is the work of a leader, and that's the work of an entrepreneur. You must be able to do that. So that's what that all is about. And for anyone who wants to keep on having the conversation until we fully get it, make good use of the opportunity that SASIE has given you for coaching relationship. So the Elon Musk one, very fine, fantastic observation also. But do I take it that everybody is back and then we can continue? I will apply it in the session that we're taking right now. Sonia, can you
Yes.
be?
Thank you so much. I really
Yeah.
got more understanding, and it's a good perception to have, or perspective to have. Thank you.
Okay, so that means that when somebody tells you I can't, it's just that they've not, and so that's why you cannot be a leader. You challenge the status quo. You challenge the status quo. That is the tool you need to challenge the status quo. And everybody needs to be challenged one way or the other after you have challenged yourself. So thank you for asking, and thank you for grabbing it the way it's come across. So convener, can we go ahead? Do we have everybody in now?
Yes, everybody's in, but some conversations have been happening in the chat.
Okay, would like to bring it to my idea before I go on.
Yes. So Temitope says Elon Musk had the financial resources at his disposal, but most African female entrepreneurs lack these resources. And then Gloria said, we need capital to beat the market. We female producers that are good but lack fund and resources. And then Olayinka said, exactly, idea is not a problem. Capital is the major problem. And finally, Gloria said, we need more exhibitions and investors with low interest rates. The skill is available and building trust is paramount. Do you want to contribute?
Great. See, all of these things, like I said, the kind of relationship we want to build with you is not to give you all the answers. We want to let you know how we got the answers. How we got the answers is very paramount. You need to become a mechanic. So, hello, fellow mechanics. You need to be able to hack life. And it is very important for you as an entrepreneur in Africa, because being an entrepreneur in Africa places you as a leader. And we all know that we need leadership that is entrepreneurial in Africa. So this is a calling more than event. It's a calling. Your venture is a calling more than anything. So, convener, when I prompt you, please bring us back to these issues that have been raised right now. But let me introduce, since we'll be making reference to the case study more than anything, let me quickly introduce some things about Elon Musk, and then to also understand it from this page that we have open before us. It's not always about money. It's usually about who you are. What we want to make you is to understand who you are. And the you that you really are, you are already perfect and able to do anything you want to do in this world. It is just to be able to make the connection. Let's assume that Elon Musk has money. And it would interest you how he even got the money. Elon Musk left every other normal job. He didn't go into the security of paid employment. He took that risk, number one. Number two, he decided that because of all the things that he envisioned in his heart to do, he wasn't going to get involved in a relationship. Be noting those choices. Then thirdly, he started out in South Africa. Because Elon Musk is a South African, when he found out that South Africa would not answer to his vision, Elon Musk immigrated to the United States. Are you seeing the choices? And he wasn't a billionaire or a millionaire at those points. When he got to the US, and I think he started something with his brother, that's the idea of PayPal. He had started his engineering trial and error over time with his brother, okay? He started things, yeah, he will do this, they will fail and everything. But at a point, he got together with some friends to start PayPal. And I think his brother also was involved or something. He found that they couldn't rent a room to stay. So for some of you who said Elon Musk has money, this is it. He couldn't rent a place to stay. So what he did was that he thought, who will come and knock at my so-called office and say that it is the place I sleep? So what he did was that he got an office. It was a ramshackle place. Rodents and all of those things were his companions. And so Elon Musk got that office that was not really fit for the kind of standard of quality in that area. But because of the state of the office, that was why they could afford it. And then he would work there. He would sleep there with his team. And that was where the idea of PayPal took root. And PayPal, when it started, nobody was going to trust anybody with their financial details. Nobody. And so when you look into the graph that I gave you, you will see providence there. Okay? Nobody, but you don't always wait for all the answers. Just do what you are convinced to do in your heart and do it very well. And very soon, the break came for them. A business trusted them. And from there, they grew. After growing, and this was how he came about this, after growing, and then he embraced other people, shareholders, and all of those things like that, they felt the way he was running his company was not great. He traveled out of state somewhere. I think he went to his family place or something like that. And before he came back, they had done a boardroom coup. In, I think, 11 p.m. or thereabout. They had voted him out of the company he started. No money, nowhere to stay. So it was as a result of him probably taking them to court or trying to find a resolution that the company paid Elon Musk $160 million. That was how he came about the money. Now it would interest you, and that is the founder's mindset that we are really, really trying to look at here. For all the stories I'm telling you right now, look into my face. If I got 160 million, I will go to my village and buy land and build a mansion that obviously I will not be living in all the time, but I must show them I've arrived. Elon Musk didn't do that. 160 million, most of us will go for security. He didn't go for security. Just like the case study that you have with you, he just thought, looking at data and looking around, why must it always be petrol cars? Why can't it be electric vehicles? He discussed it with people all around, those who have been established in the Toyota, Mitsubishi, all of them. And definitely, they laughed him to scorn. You mean that electric will be powering a car? Come on, you're out of your mind. At the same time, he thought about the fact that why can't everybody go to space? Some people have never traveled on an airplane to the next African countries. Okay, but this guy, his mind has left the world. He's thinking, where is it that people have not gone before that is rare? Then why can't people go to space as a holiday? That was his mindset. And nobody thought it was a sane thing to do. So this is what he did. The 160 million that he got, instead of buying a house or looking for security, he now put 60 million into Tesla to say, this is my idea, and I'm ready to risk everything I've got on this idea. That is one. It remains 100 million. Elon Musk put all of the 100 million into SpaceX, something that had never been done before in the world. No guarantee of success. It would also interest you that Elon Musk is not a space engineer or something like that. He did science back in school. Elon Musk went to get dummies for engineers. What do they call it now? What do they call textbook? Physics, maybe physics textbook, maybe aerodynamics textbook for dummies. Elon Musk would lock himself up and he would study and study. He gave everything. He still put out time. The first 3 rockets that that SpaceX tried to launch, it blew up in the air. 100 million was gone. It was a fourth attempt that providentially, I think NASA came in by then because they seen the first three attempts. There's a way Providence solved this problem for you. And that's why I told you that, see, leave opportunity alone. It will always come. You are not the one who creates it. Don't let them make you focus on opportunity. Focus on your choices, how you can be strengthened to make your choices. And this diagram is the tool, mechanics tool for you to be able to do that. He had lost everything by the time SpaceX blew the third launch. It wasn't until that time that NASA came in with like $1 billion contract. That was what saved SpaceX. Elon Musk did not become a billionaire because he had money. He became a billionaire because he became an example of what we are trying to encourage ourselves to become here. That's the story of Elon Musk. If many of you are familiar with Tyler Perry, who is a billionaire Black American right now, Tyler Perry took money, borrowed money, walked to many of the places where he did his plays, the Tyler Perry plays that you find that are so popular right now. He failed at many of them over a period of time. I think it was 30 or over 30. And this was his story. He said he convinced his mom to loan him $300 or thereabout to stage the last play. And he said, if this one fails, I will go and learn a job. And that, everyone here, was the play that stayed. And from there, Tyler Perry went on to form his production company and became the billionaire that he is right now. Part of the things that we need to challenge is the lie that we've been told, that it's all about money, or it's about this, it's about that. And let me quickly raise this last one as a response before we go into the diagram and explain it so that you two can use it as a tool. And then when and if you decide to form a coaching relationship, you should know that everything for the first year that we deal with is a case study that we have, is this particular diagram that you are looking on the board, are those three aims, and then how you are becoming a mechanic, the outcome. So when you have a headache, you will not say, I don't know why I have a headache. You will know why you have a headache. When you don't have money, you will not say, I don't know why. When your relationship is poor, you will not say, I don't know why. And if you're in a wrong relationship, you will not be able to say, oh, because of this. You would know, I'm deciding to stay or I'm not deciding to stay. We want to teach people what leadership and entrepreneurship is. It's about choices. Human beings are created to make decisions. Business is nothing more than decision making. While other people will not decide to make the soap, you decided to make the soap. That is what it is all about. And that decision is what people will now reward by paying a price for that soap. When the price they pay for the soap is more than the price you produced it, is more than the price you used to pay for your house rent and every other thing that you need, when it becomes surplus, you keep it in the bank, and then as it grows, the whole idea that I have extra money starts coming to you, and then they start calling you a rich or wealthy person. Wealth is nothing more than the fact that I have a reserve somewhere. That is all that there is. There is just no mystery around this. There's a process. The last person I'll mention is this Henry Ford, who was the guy who woke up in the 1901s or early 1900s. Hello? Okay. He woke up in the 1900s and said, I will put a car in every American house. Now, the interesting thing about this is this. If you Google it, the newspapers of the times wrote that this guy is a madman. It's documented, it's there. It's not stories. They said it. Elon Musk, go and Google it. They called him a madman. So we're not talking about, and that's why we use Elon Musk, somebody that you know. So we can talk about his story. We know his mother. we know his father. All of this things I'm mentioning can be explained by this diagram that we have here. We don't want a session whereby we just motivate you. So those are great points. You want to know, fine. Henry Ford said, I'll put a car in every American house. There were no road for cars. There were no tire manufacturing companies. They just discovered oil, but not as something that can run vehicles. It was when Henry Ford started to mass produce cars that John D. Rockefeller and the others started thinking that the car will need petrol. That was the beginning of petrol running cars. An entrepreneur is someone who says, why can't this happen? Why can't I be the one to do this? And that is a strong leadership characteristics that everyone needs to grow. We can grow it. That's also another thing. It's a skill that anybody and everybody can grow. You have seen that it is 1 + 1 right now. Okay. And now, from Henry Ford having the vehicles produced, he did it in black color because black color is fast to produce. The paint dries fast so that the cost can be lower and people can embrace it. It was horses that were carrying people around, and it was only the rich people that can get horses to carry them around. You can see now. So when he said, I want it for every American house, you should know that it was a class struggle. And he wasn't even an educated guy. So that is just a whole story. And it's a good thing that we're having a conversation here. When we know that we can deal with this thing as a mechanic, then we have become placed more than any of our peers everywhere or anywhere around. And so let's go back to this. And I know that there are conversations that we will still want to be ensuing after this. Like I said, we're not motivating you. We want to teach you, how does this thing happen? How is my life like this? How can my life be like that? It's a 1 + 1, 2 + 2. Okay, so we also mentioned that there might have been many Elon Musk that packed up or thereabout. Elon Musk slept on coaches when he didn't have the money. When he was chopped out, he had no money before he settled for the 160 million. He decided to go and sleep in friends' houses.
Yeah. Sorry to cut in. We've got about 12 minutes more. So you have 7 minutes to talk about the diagram and then 5 minutes for questions.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So you guys can see that it's something that we have to do beyond that. But I hope that those explanations are sufficient so that you go back to the case study and then you can interact with the case study from that mindset. We understand that the challenges of, oh, it's going to happen, we're trying to open your eyes to it. So if you look at the diagram that we have on the screen right now, you have the past, you have the present, and then you have the future. Okay. The present is the only thing that you have control over. The resources you use to hold the present and have control over it, they, like every resource in economics, they are very scarce. So the first indicator that you are in trouble is if you use the resources to deal with the present, you are using it to deal with the past. The resource that is scarce, that is not limitless, that can only take care of the present. If you use it to go to the past, definitely you know where you start failing. There are no mysteries to these things. Secondly, if you take the resource of the moment and take it to be spending on the future, then you also have a problem. That is on one level. Okay, on the other level is that you can take resources from the past, the stories of Henry Ford, the stories of Tyler Perry. You can extract strength from the past and use it to leverage on the limited resources in the present. In the present, you can take your dream of the future, if it is enabling. You can take the dream of the future where you want to be. You can extract power from it and bring the dynamics to your present. It is called hope. Hope. So it comes to the present. What it does is that it will facilitate the limited resources that you have for the moment. It will now make it a bit exponential. And that is a leadership decision. You can see that we put a timeline to the present. Rarely would any one of you live to be 120 years old. That is also something you need to come to terms with as a leader and an entrepreneur. The fact that I don't always have the time, it makes your mind to be focused, laser focused on what is possible. Because again, as you look into the future, you want to leave a legacy. So when you come to terms with the fact that I don't have the time to waste, I don't have the time to spend without benefiting from it, you start strengthening your muscle as a leader and as an entrepreneur. Now, we have a cog here. The whole idea is this. As this cog, as it moves and turns and interacts with you in the present right now, it creates a friction. It creates some temperature, okay? That temperature interacting with you changes your nature. So it probably starts making you warm. The person that is not turning this wheel very well is the person that will stay cold. How you turn this cog is through entrepreneurship and leadership. And we're just talking about decisions you take every time. Entrepreneurship is decisions you take. Leadership are decisions you take. When you are able to take very good decisions, and then the decision impacts on so many people and they feel good about the decision, you find that around you, they start trying to look for you. You are on your way to significance. When you solve problems for people as an entrepreneur, whether through service, whether through motivation, whether through products, and they have a good feeling about the product, they come back and reward you, whether with attention, adulation, or price they pay for the goods. When they come back enough and frequent enough that you have a reserve of everything that they come back to give you, that is when you're on your way to becoming successful. And by successful as a business person, we mean you need to turn a profit. As you turn the profit, as you continue turning the profit, the movement keeps on affecting you in the present. And then you start becoming someone who can afford a car, someone who can afford a house, someone who can afford a private jet, and then someone who is able to get the respect of the society that they live in. That is what it means to be a billionaire on the good side. That is what it means to be a president on the good side. That is what it means to succeed. When you are able to take good decisions over time, when you are able to supply good services or products over time and people reward you for it, then you start growing after you have a reserve of what they are rewarding you for. That opportunity to create the good, the fact that they need it is your opportunity. That you create the good is your choice. That was what Harrison Ford was talking about, that if you want to be successful, you need to make the choice. What choice are we talking about? The choice to harness opportunity. And it is your own responsibility to find out, how can I make the best decision per time? Because your choice is a function of your decision. So you want to make a decision as a business person. Who are the mentors I need? What are the courses I need to go for? What are the networks I need to do to stay in? What are the SWOT analysis I need to do for the product? What are the cost production things that you need to keep on increasing and increasing and increasing in those areas. And that is when you can become successful. Okay, so the other areas that we look at is the area of the indicators that go into the decision you make, you need a network. So somebody said Elon Musk wasn't all about it. Go and read about Elon Musk's mother. So recently, the president of America brought out a policy that was antagonistic to Elon Musk. The mother of Elon Musk came up on social media and said, don't toy with my child. Now go and read about the mother. I think she's a PhD holder or something like that. What are the network that you have? That is the first thing. Then the next thing is, what is the information that you hold? The information you hold, are they helping you or are they disenabling you? Then the third thing is, how do you use time, knowing that it is limited? How do you use time? And then do you trust time? Now, all of those things are answered by the four things inside this circle. The first one is tenacity. Tenacity. Elon Musk kept at it for a long time. Do you have the capacity not to drop off? The second one is talking about your story. Elon Musk said, I want to create electric vehicle. Are you clear about your story? Are you very, very clear about the product you want to produce, about yourself? Are you very clear? The next one is effort. The story talks, the case study talks about ethics of Elon Musk. Is that the kind of ethics you have towards work? Is that the kind of effort you make? Okay, and the last one there talks about providence. That is where your opportunity is. It's always happening. If you can satisfy the other three, leave the rest to providence. 1.something billion contract was what saved Elon Musk. And lastly, recently, Elon Musk was paid in excess of 50 billion because he told the board of Tesla like 10 years ago, I can grow this company into a trillion company. And they said, if you're able to do that, we have allocated the share value of 2.8 billion or something for you. Way back then, by the time he achieved the goal that was unprecedented, the value of that share has skyrocketed to over 50 billion. That was how he made the money. Effort, decision to take the opportunity, choice to harness opportunity is what will produce the billion. So Elon Musk didn't have it ready. Nobody will have it ready. You don't have it ready. But together, learning how to be mechanics, we can have it ready. Because we believe you can be prosperous. You're the billionaires we're looking at. And you are the one that can raise the level of leadership to the top in Africa. That's the much belief that SASIE has in you. That's the much belief I have in you. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to now yield the floor to the convener and then see how all of this is applied. And I hope that everyone will be able to take advantage of the opportunity for ongoing conversation and communication through the coaching offers that we produce. Thank you for the opportunity to engage with you on this your wonderful journey into prosperity and into leadership and setting the pace in Africa. And a round of applause to the convener of SASIE, Dr. Jennifer, for this initiative to raise the bar for African entrepreneurs in the tech space. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Aki.
So please, you may, at your discretion, direct the questions to me if you want us to answer it now, or they can compile it, and then if we know who asked the question, we can get back to them. And of course, through ongoing interaction, we can solve problems. But if there's an opportunity to answer questions and everything, it's also something that we can do. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Very quickly, we're going to just go ahead and end the session. So it has ended, but feel free to stay back and ask questions. He has so kindly offered to do that. Thank you all for coming. We're going to be here the same time, and this time it'll be Dave German from the University of Bristol in the UK and he's going to talk about the idea. He's a professional. Please do not miss out on this. I really implore you to attend. If you have questions, feel free to stay back to ask those questions. But if not, you're free to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you again so much. Okay, so Diane, Mr. Akin, if you can have your camera on. Diane has said here in the chat that these examples that you've given are of people that have one thing in common, an enabling environment, which has helped them to get their foot through the door, right? And all these examples are not in the context of the African continent. I would like to see how some of these apply to me when I have challenges like bad internet connection, battling with basic infrastructure, dealing with bureaucracy when opportunities show up. Also mentioned, we shouldn't look for opportunities and we should focus on taking better decisions. From experience, opportunities only come to those who are prepared and have the visibility. I need clarity on the statement on not looking for opportunities, but focusing on decisions. So please.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Very interesting questions again. And the application is also available. Just like I've said, if you have a problem, that problem exists for every human being. It is just that in some societies, somebody has resolved that problem. It would interest you that in the United Kingdom, there are villages that don't have internet yet. But somebody is doing something about it. In the UK, there are villages that don't have internet connections yet. But somebody is doing something about it because they are seeing it as the opportunity that an entrepreneur should respond to. That is the first thing I want us to get. Now, let's talk about the application to Africa. You don't have internet connection that is great. Can you start an online verification for 1,000 businesses around you that don't have internet connection that is great? When you compile that, can you put it out on social media or something like that? You have Starlink right now. Can you put it out there and polling the geography of the people of the area? Can you put it out there and say that, okay, we pull money to buy Starlink for this area. This business will be started to manage the connection. 120 people, I think, can connect to a Starlink if I'm right. And then this set of people and the business will take care of that. And then we go on. Before you know it, the idea will catch and then it will do something. Secondly, it's also what you have talked about. Are you seeing this platform as an enabling environment that you did not plan for, but was offered to you free of charge? That is providence. This is your opportunity. If you stay within this network, do you know the answers that can come to some of these issues that you have? So when you start rewiring the mindset, you will see that what can I take care of? What can't I take care of? And is it that if I don't have internet connection, I cannot succeed? How can I mitigate it? Is it that I go into the city center at this particular period, do all my communications at that time? Is it that I start a friendship with somebody in the city where the connection is better and then give the person access to my e-commerce platform? And then the person uploads whatever it is that I have to deal with. You see, the point we want to make is how can you start making the choices that will make you succeed when you are able to think critically with very top-notch information? That is what you're experiencing right now. You are being challenged. You are being told it is not enough because Henry Ford did not have the roads for his cars. He did not have the tire companies for his cars. He did not. And you know what? Providence, how he came about it was that he actually sorted a mechanical problem for his wife on her farm. And that was the wife who now caught the idea. That's what I mean when I say, don't you just keep on doing what you can do. Opportunities would show itself. It was the wife who said, if he can do this for me, don't you think he can do it for many people? And that is where your network matters. So he was growing his capacity to be able to provide solutions. He was providing solution on a level. Then an opportunity came to be encouraged to do it on a grander level. And continuously, it was Henry Ford's wife who kept on encouraging him. Because don't forget, I told you, he did not even have a university education. How can somebody who didn't have a university education become the person who really made cars available? So you can say that entrepreneurs, they thrive within these challenges. The reason why you're an entrepreneur is that there is a different spirit within you. You are not going to take no for an answer. You will find all the help you can find, but you are not going to stay. Okay, this is how best to put it. I will not use the validity of my reality to now become the valid reason why I won't succeed. You see now, your reality is a valid experience. But are you going to use that valid experience as a valid reason why you explain why you not break through? That's what we're talking about here. And over time, you are seeing that this is a problem. It's going to influence how you start challenging those who are going to political offices. This thing is affecting my business. You need to get it right. That is what happens in Western countries. That's what they call lobbying. Businesses will have to tell the government what policy to make. The reason why we are poor in Africa is that we do not have enough businesses, small businesses, who need to survive and need to survive by politicians making the best policies. And when politicians and leaders are not given any other option, you find that they start listening to you. That is how the law of progress was. Look at what is happening in Kenya. Ruto went on space with the youth, spent 3 hours. He cut down the number of people who can travel abroad. He cut down the number of the special assistant that he has. He cut down the number of the vehicles that they buy. He cut so many things down because people told him, you don't have that luxury anymore. Circumstances and situations don't change unless you marshal the power that is sufficient to it. And how do you marshal the power that is sufficient to it? If you do not have the capacity alone, reach out to Dr. Jennifer, reach out to the people around you, build up momentum, ask questions from Akinlabi Alabi, ask questions from everybody. All of this, you are using it to develop your capacity and remain focused on what you need to do to succeed. So that is it. What we said is relevant to the African context. Because when we keep at it, and we keep on developing our capacity to deliver, when the people with opportunity comes, they do not have an issue of trusting us. And then abundance will meet trust, and then we'll become wealthy. So that's what I think about it.
Thank you very much. Gloria, I would love for you to speak on this thing you've just typed here, or if you can, I would really love you to unmute and say this. If not, I'll just go ahead and read it, but I think I would love to hear this in your voice. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm Gloria Abdulmalik. And what I want to say about this is, I believe most people that are on this platform, they are already into business and they already know what they are doing. Their mindset is already decided on what they want to do. So, because all these things I'm saying now, I'm not saying logical, the examples are logical based on the other world, not over here in Nigeria. Because you can go to a bank that you want to loan small money to do product and supply. The interest they will put for you, it will not even encourage you to even collect that loan at all. So, and this kind of attitude kills us, kills the small, like me now, I'm trying to even stop producing. I produce skincare and toiletries. So I want to stop producing. I don't even want to do it again because the things are expensive, no capital, and the customers want the same quality. So in that kind of thing, are you telling me that my mindset or my skill is not complete? Is the infrastructure that is not in place? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
Now
much,
you are
Gloria.
laughing, Abi.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do
I
now?
don't know. It's our country.
I told you when I started that, okay, so let's take it from this point. I told you that when I started this session with you, the first thing I did was, because I know the environment I'm in, I told the conveners that somebody must be ready to project the screen when my connection goes.
Okay.
Because often the internet thing makes my connection to go off. And then once or twice, I had to break to put the connection on again. Now, this is it. I have analyzed my problem, and I am not going to surrender to it. And I have reached out to other people. I did not bother. They will say, this man doesn't have good connection. What kind of money is he? I didn't bother about that. I said, please help me. My connection will go. And they understand because they know the environment that I live in. That is number one. Number two, I had to ask someone who was in class, one of my staff and a colleague who was in an ICANN class. I said, come back, go and stand by the generator. When light goes, turn on the generator. She missed her class, transported back here. I would have to compensate her for that because I read my environment. I did not give up. The mentality we are trying to say is that we know what the issues are, okay? But how can we not give up in the face of the issue? What are the things that are out there? That is the scarcity equals abundance minus trust that I said that every entrepreneur needs. You need that in the way of operationalizing for you. You need to start thinking and believing that your business will succeed. That is you need to. Secondly, you now need to start looking for what are the things that will make my business succeed. For goodness sake, do you need to stay in Nigeria to do your business? Elon Musk left South Africa to go to America because South Africa did not have the resources to do what he would want to do. Entrepreneurs have to make drastic decisions. That is the area of choice. It's the area of choice. I have to ask somebody to come back and go and man the generator. I pour the fuel myself. So you see now that I know the environment, I am not sitting down on it and everything like that. That's what we're saying. How can you have this conversation with us? Let's talk about the issue of money from the banks, for example. It would interest you that Dr. Jennifer is leading an initiative right now with an international finance organization to introduce a bank that will solve finance problem for small businesses. Did you know that about her before? You don't. That is the providence and the opportunity you cannot do anything about. You can't do anything about it. It will happen irrespective of you. So she is going to introduce that bank. Another person will introduce another one. Over time, providence will cause everything to come together. Competition will set in. Now, again, Dangote, you don't have a voice. But Dangote spoke out last week and said, it is not sustainable that you are asking 30%. You are setting 30% of the monetary rate. Peter Obi peed on Dangote in a tweet yesterday or thereabout and started shouting, Gloria, is it something you can do anything about? Nothing. You can, they can't hear your voice. But is providence making other people to speak so that you can benefit? I'm trying to let you know that somehow you'll be sorted. I'm trying to let you know that you need to do something about the thinking. about the mindset, there will be a solution. Can you bring your production company to my compound in Lagos as a creative way, and you manage the sale in wherever it is that you are? That is what I'm talking about. How can we determine we want to change the face of things all over? So these principles apply to everyone. We are all suffering it, but if we don't give the solution, it's going to be a problem. Because I told a friend yesterday, one of my proteges, I said, your father said up NEPA. For those who are not Nigerians here, up NEPA is when the power company restores light after they've seized it for a while. So when they restore the light, out of jubilation, people will start hailing them and praising them and say, hey, up NEPA, you have done well. Now, I told my protege, your father said up NEPA. You at over 40, you said up NEPA. I can see your son now, and I know your son. I've heard your son say up NEPA, and his own son will say up NEPA. But there are places in the world that nobody knows up NEPA because light never goes. It takes an entrepreneur and a leadership mindset to say, I must change the status quo. We want to have a network of people like you who I will challenge like this, who will challenge me also. And through a conversation, our mindset or our operation will shift, and then we'll start producing the results. And then we'll start telling people it's not enough. We need to do more. That is what we need to get to. And that's why we're here. So that really is the point. We can survive, and we will survive. Let's keep on having the conversation. Okay, lastly, about funding. What if you list 100 of your former classmates or university mates or something like that, and then look at your cost of production and tell them, don't forget how we came. This is the person that I am. And this is what I like doing. I've been doing for this length of time. Can you give me 1,000 every month for 12 months? 1,000 every month for 12 months. 100 of them giving 1,000 every month for 12 months will probably be like, is it 100,000 or 1 million? That is 1 million every month for you to run your operations. Because they give you 1,000 every month, they start giving you ideas on how to make your business better. They start talking to other people to approach and buy your business, buy your product, and then your scope starts enlarging. We want you to start thinking like that. Okay, we know it's not easy, but who says the other option is also easy? But are you looking at all these ideas I'm talking about? So when you come to SASIE, that's how we want to challenge you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been interesting, and surprisingly, a lot of people decided to stay back. So I'm so thankful. I think you found it very useful. Mr. Akin and the team at Akinlabi Alabi have offered free coaching. We'll share the links right after this, right after we close this session. But if anybody has any more questions, oh, Gloria says she can't meet her classmate. Oh, they will post online that they are the ones that brought me out. That is
Okay,
also
yeah,
a,
good.
I think
Practical. Sorry, convener. Can you guys, okay, I don't know whether you can see the slide. Can you see the slide on scarcity? Can you see now that the reason why Gloria has on scarcity, can you see it right now? There's an issue of trust. Can you see? I said you can explain every phenomenon. You can explain every phenomenon. You are a mechanic. You can explain every phenomenon. Gloria would not have certain things right now because of the fact that she does not trust the mindset of her classmates, and she believes that classmates will not trust her possibility and potential enough to respect her and keep her business deals secret. You can see how scarcity happens now. You can see that this thing is applicable. But what if the Gloria decides to call the bluff of anybody and says whether they abuse me or not? Because that was what Elon Musk did. That was what everybody who succeed. At some point, you have to decide what the price is. And then you have to make the choice whether to pay the price or not to pay the price. Every reality we have, we create. Every reality we have, we create. Either by holding on to a status quo or by holding on to a mindset. So if the success of the business becomes more than life, then we will change certain things in our approaches. And I need to say this. It means that if we have to lose everything to pursue our goals and our vision, then we would know whether to make that choice or not. But can you see that we have already operationalized that scarcity thing right now? That is how it works out. Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Maybe perhaps you talk to Dr. Jennifer more and keep in touch with her so that when the organization comes up, again, the organization will have to ask you about your business. And one of the things that the organization will be looking at is, what is your mindset like? What is your orientation like? If you're saying you're going to die tomorrow, you're going to close shop tomorrow, we are hearing the answers. We will not give you money. So that is all the thing that this is all about. You need to change. We need to change. All of us, we need to take the challenge, and we're here together. We are all mechanics. We are all mechanics. Thank you. Please, next question, if there's any.
Okay, there isn't any question. Any other questions, please just let us know in the WhatsApp group or via email, and we will send to Mr. Aki. I think, Gloria, please take advantage of the free coaching, and you'll have enough one-on-one time with Mr. Aki. Thank you all so much. Have a great day, or enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.